Still on Freedom Day, of course, this year is being celebrated under the theme, the Year of Charlotte Maxeke, the meaning of freedom under COVID-19. The celebrations were taking place in Botshabelo in the Free State, where President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the nation a short while ago, covering that event. And joining us now on the midday view on this Freedom Day is Mangoba Mkunu. Mangoba, good afternoon. It looks like they are wrapping up. I can see behind you, people are busy packing up after the main speech was delivered by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, what can you tell us now as the festivities there have come to an end?
Well, certainly, Pradana, we did see quite a different picture this year compared to the previous year. You recall that last year we didn't have any national celebrations of Freedom Day due to COVID-19. And at the time, the country was under level 5 of the lockdown, which meant that events like this one could not be held at that particular time. But today we did see quite a bit of pomp and ceremony that is usually associated with the celebrations of Freedom Day. We did see the fly past of those 3 helicopters bearing the South African flag, which of course represents the pride of the nation, as well as the SANDF's commitment to protect the citizens of South Africa. And also we did observe the national salute that took place here earlier on, with the President observing, of course, as the Commander-in-Chief of the South African National Defence Force. But it didn't end there. We also saw that opening and officiating of the new centre, the rehabilitation centre, which will help the youth in this particular community to deal with the scourge of drugs and also of substance abuse, which is one of the major issues that is currently facing this particular community. But just to speak further, Braden, about how this day unfolded, I'm now joined by Kondani Ketama, who is from the Mangaung Metro, who's a spokesperson for the Mangaung Metro. Thank you so much for your time. Let's start here, Baba. So much has been said. We know the issues of Botshabelo. Of course, one of them is the issue of service delivery. People saying that they feel neglected and saying that really government is not doing enough and the municipality perhaps is not doing enough. So much has been said and done in this particular event. But what happens now?
Look, the reality is that there are challenges. There's a lot of community challenges. But as the city, we're not going to sit back and fold our arms, because you'd remember that not so long we had encountered some protests. But one of the things that we then said we'll do, it is to interact with all those people who are having issues. And a part of them was a business sector, where we had to sit them with them and show them our plans. What we've done in Botshabelo, you may have seen that the President has just opened the center. This center is going to employ more than 100 people. Already, there's about 33 people that have been employed. But when you look at the industry, where there is a legacy of the former, the previous homeland government, we have started rehabilitating this sector, where we're involving both trade and industry, the province and ourselves. We're investing on that. We have just opened up one of the world-class digital hub, where we're trying to say the youth must be engaged. And how do you engage the youth? You look at the developments with COVID-19, where we are now talking about the virtual economy. So we are saying they are going to train there, they are going to run their businesses there, and there's going to accommodate a sizable amount of people. But that does not necessarily mean other sectors are being neglected, because the infrastructure projects that are here are being given to the employment. The priority is given to people of Botshabelo. If it's in Bloemfontein, so we do. But unfortunately, because of limited resources, we are unable to reach everybody. But if you look at our strategic goals as the city, it is to make sure that in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, we do and turn this municipality into one of Africa's best cities.
But one of the issues that community members are raising, in fact, here is the issue of the industries and that are here in this particular place that have been closed. And they're saying that they've been calling, particularly on the city and the province, to actually relook at opening these industries. And that's the reason why they've also taken to the streets on this particular issue. But in the immediate future, what is it that you're saying to residents? How are you going to deal with these particular issues?
Well, the difficulty is that, yes, because of levels of poverty, yes, because of the economic situation that is going down every day, people are becoming impatient. But the reality is that there is work that is being done. If you look at the past 2 weeks, Khosienso Sputla in the office of the president was here. The intention of this visit, it was to consolidate the infrastructure project and look at the phasing of the implementation of these. But if you also look at some of the projects that we are doing them, but the level of poverty and unemployment has risen not only in Mangaung, not only in Botshabelo, but throughout the country. So this is the challenge we are faced with as the current management and the current leadership. This is the challenge that would take the leadership generally, national, provincial, at the level of the metros, to look at how best do they make interventions. Yes, in a small scale, we do our part, but I must indicate that this is a national problem. And then we are doing our part as the city, and we want the people of Mangaung to appreciate that there are interventions that we are making.
But in terms of service delivery, because this is one of the big issues and concerns that this community is raising, and this is your task as a municipality to actually ensure that there's service delivery. But hearing of people saying that sometimes waste is not collected, there's issues of water here and there, your role as a municipality, what are you going to do? Because also the president spoke about the issue of service delivery as one of the issues that has still affecting our people. So what is it that the municipality is committing to people of Botshabelo and people of Bloemfontein in terms of service delivery?
Yes, I must acknowledge and appreciate the state of affairs when it comes to some of the areas like waste management. But the intervention that we are doing is that we have just looked into the organogram and look at how do we complement it to talk to the balance in terms of, for example, on waste collection. How many vacancies are there and how do we close them? And that is what we are dealing with. The other thing that is critical is looking at our fleet, because our fleet, most of it is dilapidated and so there is a strategy. We're working with banks in augmenting our fleet and making sure, I am sure, that in the next 2-3 months from now, people will see the complexion, especially at the level of waste collection. They will see the complexion changing into the better. Yes, we are having issues of spillages and so, but it is this infrastructure that I'm complaining about, that our underground infrastructure, what we do, every time we replace it with a material that is going to be in line with what is happening in other cities. It will keep us for the coming 100 years or so, because the underground infrastructure is a challenge, and this is what we're actually working on. What we also did, we did a study of roads where we realized that most of our roads are no longer repairable. Now, what does that mean? It means the national government has to inject billions for us to do that, but we are taking this in chunks. If you can look at what is happening in other roads now, we have started with a soft rehabilitation. Others, we are putting those that are internal, we are putting paving and so. So we have a strategy when it comes to road infrastructure in the city. And I'm sure it's just a matter of time that our citizens will appreciate the work that we are doing as the city.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the Pondile Ketama, who is the spokesperson of the Mangaung Metro, clarifying some of the issues, because you know, President, that in the lead up to this particular commemoration, there had been threats by some of the community members here in Botshabelo that they were going to disrupt this particular event, more especially business people in this particular area who had raised some concerns about the fact that they've been left out of government spend, and the fact that there simply is no service delivery in this particular area. And those are some of the complaints that they'd wanted to bring to the attention of the president. But of course, there were meetings that we understand were held between the residents as well as the provincial officials to try and quell that particular protest or shutdown that was expected to take place here today. But of course, the president himself also touching on the issue of service delivery, saying that in fact this is one of the issues that this particular community and many other communities are facing, that it continues to be a failure for many people, of course, who still cannot access service delivery, and saying that to people that perhaps they should take a chance and vote in the upcoming elections to ensure that they elect the right leaders, leaders that are accountable, and to root out corruption in many of these parts where there simply is no delivery of services.
Thank you very much for that wrap-up here. Mangoba Mchunu at Botshabelo there in the Free State, where the President earlier addressed the nation on this Freedom Day, 27th of April, 27 years on. Now,